Marvin Ellis had always considered himself healthy. At 66, he walked every morning, stayed away from sugar, and drank plenty of water, or so he thought. But it started with subtle things, a bit more fatigue, swollen ankles after sitting too long, a strange metallic taste in his mouth that wouldn't go away. He brushed it off until the checkup. Routine labs, nothing special. But the phone call that came 2 days later was anything but ordinary. Marvin, his doctor said, voice serious, your kidney function is declining. Your creatinine is up and your GFR is down. We're entering stage 3. Stage 3 of what? Marvin asked, heart suddenly thudding. Chronic kidney disease. The words hit him harder than he expected. His kidneys? But he didn't drink, he didn't smoke, and he wasn't on any medication that could cause this. Was he? He sat with it for a while. Then he started asking questions. He read everything he could find about kidney function, filtration rates, nephron damage, and the signs of early decline. What he found shocked him more than the diagnosis. He had been making mistakes, daily, seemingly harmless habits that had slowly chipped away at his kidney's ability to function. Nobody had warned him. There were no flashing signs. But the damage had added up like rust on an old pipe. And the worst part? These habits weren't rare. They were normal. So Marvin did what Marvin always did when something mattered. He got a notebook and made a list. He titled it, 10 Things That Are Silently Killing My Kidneys. And next to that, in red, stop these now. 1. Not drinking enough water. Marvin thought he drank plenty, but when he tracked it, he realized he only sipped during meals. The kidneys need water to flush out waste. Without enough, toxins accumulate, blood becomes harder to filter, and long-term damage begins. Now, Marvin carried a bottle everywhere. 8 glasses a day, more if he was active. 2. High salt intake. He never added salt at the table, so he assumed he was fine. But then he looked at the labels on the canned soup, deli meats, and even the healthy crackers he ate. The sodium was off the charts. Salt raises blood pressure, and high blood pressure is the number 2 cause of kidney disease. He switched to low-sodium everything, began using herbs and lemon for flavor, and cooked more at home. 3. Overuse of painkillers. A few years back, he'd started taking ibuprofen almost daily for his knees. Just a couple of tablets. It helped him stay active. What he didn't know was that long-term NSAID use is incredibly hard on the kidneys, restricting blood flow to them over time. He stopped immediately, replaced the habit with stretching, turmeric supplements, and joint support routines. 4. Holding in urine. It sounded silly at first, but it was real. Marvin often ignored the urge, especially on long walks or when running errands. Over time, that puts pressure on the bladder and kidneys, increasing risk of infections and damaging filtration. Now, he listened to his body. 5. Eating too much protein. Marvin had followed a high-protein diet in retirement, thinking it would help him build muscle and stay lean. But too much protein, especially red meat and processed meats, puts strain on the kidneys as they work to eliminate nitrogen byproducts. He cut back to moderate portions, swapped in plant-based proteins, and saw immediate improvements in energy. 6. Not controlling blood sugar. Marvin wasn't diabetic, but his glucose was creeping up. He often had toast and jam for breakfast and pasta for dinner. High blood sugar damages the tiny blood vessels in the kidneys. He swapped refined carbs for whole grains, added fiber, and began checking his glucose weekly. 7. Drinking too many healthy drinks. He'd given up soda years ago, but still drank bottled iced teas and vitamin water daily. They were full of hidden sugars and phosphates, both dangerous for kidney health. Water became his new go-to. Herbal teas, occasional fresh juice, but only in moderation. 8. Ignoring sleep. He didn't think poor sleep could affect his kidneys. But sleep is when the body repairs itself, balances hormones, and reduces inflammation. Sleep deprivation raises cortisol and blood pressure, both of which strain the kidneys. Marvin started winding down earlier, cutting screens at 9 p.m., and taking magnesium at night. Sleep improved. So did his mood. 9. Smoking, even passively. He didn't smoke, but his neighbor did, and Marvin often sat outside on the porch while the man puffed nearby. Studies showed that secondhand smoke also reduced kidney function over time. He started spending his porch hours on the other side of the house. 10. Skipping checkups. Marvin hadn't checked his kidneys in years. Most people don't, until something breaks. But the kidneys can lose 90% of function before symptoms show up. Early detection is critical. Now, Marvin made labs a quarterly habit. He tracked his GFR, creatinine, blood pressure, and glucose like a personal project. By the time his next appointment came, 3 months after his initial diagnosis, Marvin walked in with his notebook, his numbers, and a much different attitude. His labs were better. Not perfect, but the slide had slowed. The doctor was surprised. "Whatever you're doing," she said, "keep doing it. You've stabilized." Marvin nodded. Turns out healing kidneys isn't just about what you start doing, it's about what you stop doing first. He now saw his health differently. The kidneys, those two silent workers deep in his back, never complained, even as they struggled. But now, with care and small daily changes, they were getting what they needed. And Marvin was getting something too: control, clarity, and the quiet strength that comes from turning the tide just in time.